Hi there, everybody. This is Dan from the Luckiest T-shirt. I'm going to be with you for the next little bit. It is a tiny podcast full of tiny leaders. Today I'm going to be doing the fastest deck tech ever on my Anax and Cyamede Tiny Leaders deck, which I just put together recently. A short episode was requested by a friend of mine named Larry. He actually is part owner of an LGS that I attend. And yeah, this is by his request. So I have my goal is 10 minutes. I imagine it's probably going to be 12 to 13. So let's go through this. Tiny Leaders is a format that is a lot like Commander, except it's only 50 cards. It's only 1v1, and everything in the deck can be converted mana cost 3 or less, and that includes your legendary commander, which in this case is Anax and Cyamede. So Anax and Cyamede is a 1 red-white for a 3/2 first strike vigilance creature. It has heroic. When you target Anax and Cyamede, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. It is a human soldier, so that's part of the theme I went with for this deck. So I've got quite a few humans in here. What's very important about this deck, also you start with 25 life in Tiny Leaders. A little different than Commander. 25 life instead of 40 or 20 is a little fucked up. So I want to attack with this deck. So I've got Dolem Gate for 2 mana. Prevent all damage that is dealt to attacking creatures you control. Straight up artifact. I've got. I also want to keep attacking. Might as well gain some life while I'm at it. So Loxodon Warhammer. And equipment. Play it for 3. Equips for 3. Gives +3/+0. Seems good. The inspiration for the deck was actually this, even though the rest of the deck has very little to do with it. This is just a huge value creature, Figure of Destiny. This is a 1 mana 1/1 that you can pay hybrid red or white, and then it becomes a 2/2 spirit for 1, becomes a 4/4 spirit warrior for 3, and becomes a 8/8 avatar with flying and first strike for an additional 6. So all told, you're spending 11 mana for an 8/8, but that's over the course of a couple turns. Figure you draw him late, you got stuff to do with your mana if you've drawn a bunch of it. Alright, so let's get into the humans here. We've got Mirror Entity, which is a changeling. Creatures you control become XX until end of turn, and gain all creature types, and you pay X to do that. Sorry if that was a little confusing. I've got Soldier of the Pantheon, protection for multicolored. Whenever an opponent casts a multicolored spell, gain a life, and it's a 2/1 for 1. I've got a Phalanx Leader here. Whenever you target Phalanx Leader, creatures you control each get a +1/+1 counter. That's its heroic trigger. It starts out as a 1/1 for 2, which is a little weak, but this art is sick, so I had to include it. Love it. Fabled Hero, double strike, 2/2 for 3, 2 white and 1, and its heroic gets a +1/+1 counter. Mentor of the Meek. This is my card draw engine in the deck. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under my control, I may pay 1 and draw a card. It's a 2/2 human soldier for 2 and a white. Next up, we've got Seeker of the Way. This is one of the newer cards from Cons. It has Prowess. It's a 2/2 for a white and 1. It's a human warrior. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets lifelink. So, Silverblade Paladin. It's a 2/2, and this is the buy a box foil promo one. So it's a human knight, 2/2. You pair it with another creature you control, and that's soul bonding it. If you've done this, then this and that creature both get double strike. Thraben Doomsayer. This is from Dark Ascension. It's 2 white and 1. Tap it to put a 1/1 white human creature token onto the battlefield, and it has Fateful Hour, so if you have less than 5 life or less, other creatures you control get +2/+2 if he's on the battlefield. So that seems decent. And here's the reason for the human theme. Champion of the Parish. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Parish. He was a standard all-star when he was in standard. Hasn't seen very much play since then. He's a 1/1 for 1 white that can get pretty big, and he's a human soldier. Next up, we've got Mikaeus the Lunarch, another human. It's a white and X. You can use X spells as in Tiny Leaders as long as the colored pips or the or the cost besides the X, is still 3 or less. At least this is what I'm told. If not, this might be coming out. I could be wrong. Who knows? So Machias the Lunarch enters with X counters on it. You can tap him to put another counter on him, or you can tap him to remove a counter from him and put it on something else. So you can move counters around. He's a base power 0/0. So you have to pay at least 1 for X or he's going away. Next up, we got Hero's Blade. This seems pretty good to suit up with Anax and Cyamede. You pay 2, turn 2, drop it for 2, and then turn 3, play Anax and Cyamede, and stick this on him. Seems good. Then we got some targeting spells here. So Blinding Flare. This is to get in that last, the last bunch of points of damage once they've built up a board. So this is for 1 red. Target creature can't block, and you can strive it, paying 1 more red for each creature you target, making a whole bunch of creatures potentially not be able to block. Next up, we've got Collateral Damage. If they're going to kill something, I'm going to sack it first and Lightning Bolt you. Got Divine Deflection. Again, if you're going to kill something, I'm going to prevent it and deal it to you or a creature you control. But the mana cost on it's a little higher, but if you end up flooded, this can be an awesome card. Condemn. Put that fucking creature on the bottom of your fucking library and then gain some life. But if they're attacking you, this is definitely 1 mana removal. Might include a Path to Exile, I'm not sure. Now we start targeting our own guys. We got Rouse the Mob. It costs 1 red for an instant that gives target creature +2/+0, and you can strive it. So unfortunately, 2 creatures costs 4 mana, and then 3 creatures cost 7. So it gets pretty expensive, but I can target Anax and Cyamede and give the team the pump. Got Mogus's Warhound. Forces your whatever you bestow it with. It only costs 3 to bestow and gives +2/+2, but it has to attack every turn. But that might not be so bad. You get a bonus on Anax and Cyamede when you bestow this onto him for that turn. Your whole team gets the pump. Seems good. Launch the Fleet. Get more weenie dudes. Could be good. Targets a whole bunch for really cheap. So if I got a Phalanx Leader and Anax and Cyamede and the Fabled Hero, I can get a whole bunch of heroic triggers out of that. All right, gotta go a little quicker. A Johnny's Presence. Strive. Gives them indestructible. Targets. Works for the deck. Feat of Resistance. When you absolutely have to protect that creature on the battlefield. Eidolon of Countless Battles. Got a lot of dudes out. Then I got 1 big dude as well. Valorous Stance. Kill your creature, save my creature. Seems good. And Teamer Battle Rage, which this is a brand new card. Gives a creature double strike, and then if I have a creature with power 4 or greater, it also gets trample. So that can definitely work out with all the +1/+1 counters floating around. Then I've got a couple Planeswalkers. So 3 mana, Planeswalker, pumps dudes, jumps dudes and gives them double strike. Seems good. And this guy, I hope he works out. Been looking for a deck to play him in. Haven't gotten to play him in anything yet. Ye Old Tybalt. My guess, he will be the first thing cut. So what does Tybalt do? Nobody really knows. He's a 2 mana Planeswalker. He comes in with 2 loyalty counters. You +1 him to discard a card and then, draw a card and then discard a card at random. But his -4 deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. Could be good. But his -6, if you can get all the way up there, gain control of all creatures until end of turn, untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. So, I don't know. Could be good. It's probably terrible. Then I've got just a small series. The rest is land, so that's 29 non-land cards. And I'm going with 21 land. So Ye Old Duels, some good ones and some not so good ones. And I've got a couple man lands. Got a Care Keep to pop out creatures if I've got nothing else going on. Got Mutavault, because Mutavault. got a Blink Moth Nexus if I got something that's going to be given the pumps and I just need a flyer. And Cathedral of War for Exalted, just to, if I've only got one thing going on. I don't know, maybe it could probably come out, but it's shiny, so I wanted to include it. And then I got my one plains. The rest are plains and forests, or plains and mountains. So I got to figure out the math on that. We are at 11 minutes. That was the Tiny Leaders Tiny Podcast. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to go to www.patreon.com/theluckiest-t-shirt or luckiest t-shirt. Anyway, you can go to patreon.com and search for Luckiest T-shirt. My Patreon's on there. If you want to help out with podcasts, that's totally awesome. I've got my first patron signed up the other day, and I'm pretty stoked about it. And if you don't, that's cool too. Keep enjoying, keep listening, and as always, have fun with it.